So what I recommend, these are going to this camera, that is going to that phone.
Okay.
I like to record in camera quality, digital quality, if that makes sense. So the only request that I have, so my audience can hear you, when you clip these on, clip these as close as possible to your mouth. That way the audience can hear you speak, brother. And you can clip it on whatever side. If you had a hat on or a snapback, I could tell you to put it on there. All right. How you feel? We comfortable? We locked in?
Yeah, we good.
All right, say less.
I'm not gonna keep my phone on me.
No, you good. So also with me, everything is content. I don't, cause it keeps it generic that way. You feel me? All right. There we go.
This is them.
Huh?
This is now.
Is that a type of gi, out of curiosity?
White capoeira pants.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you have them doing that? For an hour or 2 hours?
About an hour and a half.
Every day?
Nah, just Tuesdays and Thursdays. But today, people were sick, you know what I'm saying? So, it's to block me. This is a different movement. So,
Pretty spry in that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of why the fitness thing happens, man.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to be in a position to help them out. Good, we're charged.
So this camera's been going, this camera's going, everything content. So what I do, I don't start off with a, hey, this is RJ. No, I don't. Hold on, I gotta make sure you're still in the camera, brother.
All right, where we at? Let me know I'm good.
It should be fine. It should be fine. I'm gonna give it some space. I know how it be. All right, we're good.
All right.
So I don't do any introduction or anything like that. But this is what I do with all my guests.
You said doo-doo. Sorry. I'm not mature enough to let that go.
You right. So Cabo, on some real shit, humbly and respectfully, thank you for giving me your time. I'm a firm believer in one of the most important things in life is time. And you're paying me with your time to talk to myself and audience about your fitness journey, your martial arts journey. And I'm pretty sure as we talk, there are some jewels about life that you're gonna drop. Other than that, you can look at me the whole time, you can look at the camera. How we go is, again, no placards, no cards. I simply start with introduce yourself and the questions flow. So with that being said, please introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Let me see. My government name, I'll say, is David Cruz.
Okay.
Senior now at this point because I have a junior. I have the nickname Indio in capoeira, so they call me Instructor Indio. Mm-hmm. There's kind of a whole history behind why we get nicknames. Mm-hmm. And because I do capoeira, most of the people that know me out in the world, they either call me capoeira or Capo. Mm-hmm. And
how would you like me to address you the whole time in this interview? Capo?
Capo's fine with me.
Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. So my kid's mother actually calls me Capo. That's like, there was a point in time when you called my mother's house and then she gave me the phone.
Say less. So I typically don't know where to start with because you are a martial artist, but you're in the fitness realm. So what do you want to start with first? Do you want to start with your martial arts journey or do you want to start with the fitness journey first? I'll let you pick.
I mean, martial arts sounds good to me. Martial arts sounds good to me.
So what made you pick capoeira? Is it, I'm asking, not out of ignorance, was it because of your nationality? Was it because where you were from, where you grew up at? Out of all the martial arts that are out there in the world, what made you pick capoeira?
Happenstance in multiple ways. Okay. I mean, when I was young, I had a friend named Javier.
Okay.
I thought this guy was cool. Okay. You know what I mean? This was like he was just a cool dude. Had long hair, you know what I'm saying? Worked out a little something as much as I hated to admit it at the time, I wanted to be like that guy. Okay. That guy started dating a Brazilian girl.
Oh, Lord? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He really, really liked that Brazilian girl, so he wanted to do anything that he could to get to her. Okay. You know what I mean? And she was doing capoeira. He ended up doing capoeira too, just to kind of try to impress her, and then he left it alone. I didn't do it at all, but it stuck in my head. Okay. Then here's the actual funny story. Later on, I ended up in gang life. Okay. So, I was in gangs for years. Mm-hmm. We had recruited this kid, and his brother had came up to us and, kind of started threatening us, nothing better happened to my brother. Okay. And you know what I'm saying? We looked at him and said, you know what? That's our brother too. Ain't nothing happened to him that don't happen to us. We started talking back and forth. It ended up at a standstill. Him and I came back in contact with each other a while ago when he was doing this weird little dancing art.
Okay.
It's kind of like breakdancing or whatever, you know what I mean? And remember the last time we seen each other was essentially like, who's gonna throw the first punch? And we got lucky enough that nobody did.
A lot tension.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was the tension. Like literally, it felt like two dogs barking at each other, but nobody got to bite.
That's a good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. So ended up asking him some questions or whatever. He was doing capoeira with the Guardian Angels.
Okay.
And I asked him to start teaching me.
Okay.
And I kind of spent some time with him there. We went to parks and stuff like that. I had met some other kids in high school that were doing capoeira, and then I just stuck with it, to be honest with you.
So was he your original sensei, or is that what y'all call them in capoeira? If that makes sense, or just somebody who taught you?
He was somebody that taught me.
Okay.
So the thing is, in capoeira, like in our group, well, in the group that I was in, I actually left and started my own group. They, you couldn't be a master until you were 39.
In that art.
Yeah, and the belief system, and I actually do follow the methodology, is that you got to be a man that's lived before you kind of lead men. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You got some grown people calling you master. You have to have been through some things to be that. You know, not just capoeira, not just skills.
Gotcha.
Great, you can do these things, but you know, are you a man that can talk to men?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So this 17-year-old kid was not a master, but he was telling me he was. He was speaking a broken version of Portuguese that was essentially just Spanish, but like, I didn't know anything.
You were a boy amongst.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't speak Spanish or anything like that at that time. So, you know, him speaking his language, I'm like, that's Portuguese, you know? Him translating songs for me and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, this makes complete sense. Like, and all of it was a lie.
Got you.
All of it. And, you know, essentially I had found my own class, and, you know what I'm saying, I got to ask them some questions, and real illuminates fake all day. You know what I mean? So the second that I saw...
Cheers.
I wish I had some. So the second that I saw something...
Can you say that one more time for me? I feel like that's real illuminates fake all day.
Real illuminates fake all day.
You know what?
So...
Jewel.
You could say you are whatever you want until that actually shows up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So once I actually saw what real capoeira was, what a real person from Brazil sounded like, you know what I mean? What all the realness, I realized that he just wasn't that. And that in combination with the fact that then he had found the class and he went to their batizado, which is like our baptism where we baptize people into capoeira, and they gave him a yellow cord. The cords are our versions of belts.
Okay.
So they gave him yellow, and I'm looking like, yellow, huh?
Did you feel, how did that make, what did that do? Because I'm pretty sure that warped your reality a little bit. It had to have.
I asked him, like, oh, they gave you yellow. He's like, yeah, yo, so my master said, you know, since I just started out here, they don't want to, you know, put people under pressure, so they're going to give me a lower belt, you know what I'm saying, so I could come up slowly or whatever. I'm like,
did you believe that, or?
Nah, my face didn't believe it either.
Okay.
So I'm like, really? Like, you don't say.
Was it all love at the end of the day, or was it just? I mean, the only reason I asked, cause obviously you looked up to this person in a sense, right? Because you wanted him to teach you. So did that did it warp the relationship a little bit?
It made the path clear.
I'll take that. Okay.
This isn't it. Go where it is.
Say less. So, and how old were you when all this was going on? If you don't.
17.
All right. So it's safe to the proper form of capoeira you was introduced to it at 17.
Yeah.
Okay. So continuing from there. So you saw that. So what are masters called in capoeira? I heard you say the term before. I want my audience to know. But what are
mestre?
Mestre?
M-E-S-T-R-E. Mestre.
So how old were you when you were introduced to your first mestre?
Well, after I was with this young kid when I was younger. I think I got to my first master when I was about 18 years old.
Okay.
In around 1998.
So with what you were already taught or shown from the younger individual versus obviously it was a shift. So what did the training for you consist of, if that makes sense? The regime, like, was it harder? Was it more, like, did it require more discipline and patience?
100%.
Like, okay, yeah.
So when we went to the parks or whatever, we kind of just hung out.
Okay.
Like similar to the way breakdancers do. Hey, you got this move, let's try this, you know what I mean? Hey, let's do this. It wasn't structured at all.
Okay.
And
with the younger individual?
with the young guy.
Okay, yeah.
So there was no structure there. We was hanging out. You know what I mean? And when I got to the class, there was warming up. You know, we had to run around the class and stuff like that, you know what I mean? We had to do some arm circles and stuff. There was stretching that looked like it was akin to yoga, you know what I mean? It was very flexible stretching and stuff like that. And we spent some time stretching. You know, we spent a good amount of time stretching. And once we got to the class itself, like, I kind of understood why we stretched so much. Like, this was about to be intense.
Okay.
You know, and so there were sequences or whatever, and there were two different groups. So there was the advanced group that goes in, and there was the beginners that go in. We had some simple movements, maybe 2-step, 3-step sequences or whatever, and then you have the advanced students or the graduados that they were doing these sequences that I was like, I'm like, okay, he's on the floor now. Why is he spinning? Why is he spinning?
Gotcha.
Like, you know, and I'm like, and I was like amazed. I'm like, you know, that kid was good. No disrespect to him. He was good for, you know, he's good for his level for sure. But that was different.
Got you.
That was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't explain what I saw. I just knew I needed more of it.
So it didn't kill your motivation to train in it. It actually sparked some for you to pursue it more. It sparked something.
Yeah.
In you. So say less. So allow me to go ahead.
I had the bug.
Okay.
Some people get the bug and then they lose it. Mm-hmm. I'm 27 years in. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing this.
Say less.
Nothing was going to stop me from doing this. Nothing.
So how about this? Was it because you were already introduced to it, regardless of how you were introduced to it? Is it because you were introduced to it, it made you want to stay with that training amongst the other things that you could have pursued, whether it be MMA, boxing, kickboxing, or again, you were already introduced to that martial art, you already had a love for it, so you said, you know what, nah, those other martial arts aren't for me, this is for me. If you don't mind me asking, did you try any other martial arts before, or you just knew that this was the path you wanted to take?
I mean, karate when I was younger, I did it for a couple of weeks. I got a belt with some duct tape around it, so I got a stripe or something like that.
Okay.
But I didn't get past their white belt. Okay. I was only there for like a week.
Okay.
You know, so that wasn't for me.
Okay, say less.
You know, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with karate as a form of self-defense. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't for me. There wasn't anything there. Like as much as I looked at the graduados that were moving, and I was like, wow.
Okay.
I didn't see anything in that karate place or whatever that
you saw on Capo. Okay.
No, I didn't see anything that was gonna keep me going back. I didn't see anything that interested me. You know what I mean? I was just showing up to do a task. I wanted to get it over with and go home. And you know, with capoeira, like when the classes were over, I stayed there as long as I possibly could have.
So allow me to ask this question, like a little history lesson. So what is the origin of capoeira? Is it Hispanic descent, Brazilian descent? And are there house names in capoeira? I recently learned that there are such things in house names in karate, jiu-jitsu, all of them. Is there like a house name in capoeira, out of curiosity?
Well, like, what do you mean by house name? I'm not really familiar.
So like Kyokushin karate, there's a house name, like I can't think of the name, but there's like I don't know the Japanese name, but there's a name in Kyokushin karate. It's a family name, and so you know how some martial arts are actually trained through manuals, and it's up to the person to, I guess, reciprocate or
like
shout out Chris.
Like lineage?
Huh? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, very much so.
So some house names, they're just transferred down versus it actually being in a manual. Is it like that? Does that make sense at all?
It does. Well, I mean, there are different capoeira groups or whatever, and they're all ran by different masters, and you know what I mean. Capoeira is very malleable. I mean, it's kind of young as an art, if you ask me. So everybody kind of has their take on it, including mine. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that think capoeira is this way, and there's a lot of people that think it's that way. And to be honest with you, if it works for you, you're right.
Okay.
So there.
I like that. If it works for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Jewel. Anyway. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, my capoeira, it's there's a. Well, let me first say how I got there actually.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the reason that capoeira, I guess, kind of why I gravitated towards it is the structure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There was I just came out of gangs.
Okay.
And I was used to a certain hierarchy and structure, and capoeira had a very similar structure. There were.
Reminded you of something you were used to.
Yes.
Okay.
So back to what you were saying about the houses, there were different groups in capoeira where their groups were almost like their flags or like their houses.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And there were rival groups and stuff like that. And
in that martial art.
And there were rivals. There were enforcers in the group. You know what I mean?
In that martial.
In the martial art.
Okay.
You know, so it was. So the structure was very familiar to me. You work your butt off. Okay. You get up to a certain position. Okay. And then you're the enforcer. That's you know, that was a position I was worried about. An enforcer sounds crazy, but you know, you get people in martial arts. Okay. And you see it in MMA too. They've done this martial art for years. They've done it for maybe 10. They get a guy who's maybe done it for 1, and they're going to show everybody how tough they are on this 1-year guy. You know what I mean? So when you have that in capoeira, and we have these open events where people are of all different level are open to compete with each other, sometimes you get people that are my level messing with some of my students or some of my master's students. Now, this is my master's livelihood. Okay. If you start beating up on all the people that he just got to join the group, how's he going to eat?
Got you.
As the enforcer, it was kind of I had to set things straight. Okay. You're not going to pick on these young guys. You're going to pick on me. Okay. So, and then the cool thing about it, beat each other up, mess each other up, gain respect for each other. After the event, have a couple of beers.
So it's really hungry like that in that Pacific martial art?
It was. And I mean, in terms of it being hungry, like, I was hungry.
What, no, so the only reason I asked like that, ask it in that format, so do you think they did that with what you just explained to weed out the weaker ones in that martial art? Like there had to be a reason. That sounds like a bully to me. Like I'm gonna break these people. You know.
That's how it sounds to me.
Huh?
That's how it sounds to me, and that's how it looked to me, and that's why I stepped in.
Say less. Okay, so moving forward. So my bad. I know I rambled, but
you're fine.
What is the origin of it?
Hispanic,
yeah.
So it's actually African in origin. So the Africans that were brought over to Brazil, and I mean, I call them African, I'll never call them slaves. Africans were who they were. Slavery was what happened to them. Never gonna identify them that way.
Got you.
So the Africans that ended up in Brazil that happened to be enslaved, they were trying to create a martial art using animal movements in order to, to gain freedom. They wanted to fight for their freedom. Because the overseers and the slave owners were never going to let them do this, they hid it in a dance. They added drums. They had a chanting-like style of singing. There were instruments, you know what I mean? Stringed instruments that you hit with a stick. And there was a circle. There was clapping. And when the overseers passed by, they kind of just looked at it like, okay,
nothing to fret about. Basically.
Yeah, they're doing their ritual thing. They didn't understand what it was. Okay. But it was actually a martial art.
So, not trying to speak out of ignorance, this question.
No, please.
So, if I understood, Africans came over to Brazil. So Africans came up with that, or did they? Nah. So no, you pretty much said it. So
Africans.
So there was like no Brazilian teacher. It was just based on what they saw.
Yeah, because they're I
never would have figured that. That's why I was like, wait, what? Because
when
I think of
made by
that,
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of, if you go search into some of the primitive martial arts that they happen to have in Africa or whatever, and you look at some of the dancing, fighting styles that they do, they're cousins. Capoeira and those arts have to be cousins. Like it's, even when I was shown these things and thinking my art was made from the ground up, I'm looking at these other arts and I'm like, it's a little similar.
Okay.
You know, from the same people. So, I mean, there has to be a connection there. It's not something I think that's been documented or something I'm familiar with. But, you know, there were probably some type of rituals that came over there, blended in, and came up with the art that I happen to be doing today.
So, as far as tradition, what are some strong foundations one could get from capoeira that they probably wouldn't get from any other martial art? Does that question make sense, brother?
It does. It does.
Okay, yeah.
It's a great question. I mean, that's tough because capoeira has a lot of some of the other things that a typical martial art has.
Okay. Well, no, I didn't want to make it seem like outside of it, this is how we view it, it looking like a dance. I didn't want to make it seem like that was the only thing that separated it. That separated it from other martial arts. Yeah.
But there's I think maybe capoeira has more of an opportunity for you to inject your personality in your style.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's an interesting way that we play or whatever. There's a lot of trickery and stuff like that, and there's a lot of expression. So when it comes to that, you can put yourself in this art. You know what I mean? I've trained wrestlers before. I've trained MMA guys before. And I mean, when we're doing capoeira, do capoeira.
Okay. Nothing else.
Yeah, but when you're out there defending yourself, you do whatever you want, and there's the chance to kind of put yourself in there. So, you know, my wrestler can't just grab somebody, pick them up, and fling them on the ground in the middle of a capoeira harder, but, you know, if they're outside, they can, you know, their style is going to become their own. It's going to be a combination of everything they are.
So, not asking out of ignorance, but, and it might be a duh type question, but can capoeira be effectively used in self-defense? Like if somebody's coming to attack someone, right? Can it be effectively used as self-defense from attackers?
I mean, unfortunately, I have used it.
Okay, got you.
So I mean, so from experience, yes. But you know what? The UFC gets a lot of things confused.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You get things that don't work in the UFC, and you start to think that they don't work at all. As much as a lot of people don't think karate should be by itself in the UFC, if somebody comes up to you, if you go up to somebody that does karate and you don't do anything, you might have a bad day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Might.
You might have a pretty bad day. So as much as karate gets a lot of slack, karate is actually effective in terms of defending yourself, and capoeira is the same way. Okay. But you know, the thing is, there are certain movements that I'm not going to waste my energy on while I'm in a regular fight. My stance looks a lot like an orthodox boxer.
Okay.
It's just the capoeira moves come from that stance rather than doing the dancing movement.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, capoeira is definitely effective as a martial art. I think most martial arts are, but you can't take them into the UFC and use them alone.
Okay.
And I think I don't know too many martial arts you can take to the UFC by themselves. Jiu-jitsu needs a companion, you know? Okay. And I'm a huge jiu-jitsu fan, you know, but you can't take it in there by yourself anymore. People are getting too good in that space.
So allow me to ask this, right? And I'll do my best to like make it make sense. As far as striking, like what's the foundation of that martial art? Is it your hands? Is it, I'll try to make it make sense. Is it your hands, the core, or is it the legs? Like in that martial art, what needs to be the strongest for it to be effective? I hope that question makes sense.
Probably your abs.
Oh, for real?
Probably your abs.
How so? Or why would you say that?
Well, I mean, a lot of things come from your core, and like for us, it's my hands need to be active. My legs need to be active. You know what I mean? So capoeira gets this reputation for not having hands. Okay. Like they think that our art is all legs. Now, me being an instructor, when I go to my students, I tell them this. I said, they don't think we have hands, so we better make sure we do.
Ah, okay.
And that's my take on capoeira. You know what I mean? And there's other people that I've seen them with similar takes where there's a lot of hands in their movement where there's not supposed to be. Now the thing is, capoeira has more of a weird way of throwing our hands, and I have kind of a typical way of throwing my hands, and like the kind of the bringing together of those two is something similar to, like, I guess 52 blocks, which is boxing mixed with Wing Chun.
Okay.
So for me, like with my boxing stance and, you know, with the capoeira hands, like there's a very interesting way that we end up blocking. I block with my elbows. My students block with their elbows. And when I was younger, play fighting with people didn't want to play fight with me because they kept running into my elbows, and it was just me blocking myself, you know, and just a very elbow heavy martial arts. So you'll see more legs in capoeira than anything, but the hands have to be solid. If you got a bunch of people in other martial arts that don't think you can take a punch, you have to make sure you can. It's a perceived weakness. So
you have to strengthen that weakness in that martial art. So allow me to ask this then, pose another question as you explain that. Would you say capoeira is more of an offensive fighting style or defensive fighting style?
Depends on who you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I have one of my students, he's actually my son, Aiden. He's all offense. Gave my little ones a lot of trouble. He just kept throwing kicks at them. And I actually am a lot like that as well, but I have a mixture of that and what my other son turned out to be. Okay. They both took different parts of me. My other son is a counterattacker. Okay. He waits for you to do certain things, and when you get too close, he has a kick that's waiting for you.
Oh shit! Like straight like that?
Yeah, you can run into a kick. And one of my kids, he was doing baseball for a little bit. So he came back after the season was over. He was better than everybody else by far. When he came back, he was getting kicked.
A lot, okay.
A lot, and he didn't understand why. You know what I'm saying? He got kicked in privates, you know what I mean? Like, he couldn't understand it. They were working.
Got you.
The whole time you were gone, none of this stopped, and so it just depends. I'm more of a fighter, you know what I mean? And like, I'm more of a person that would go forward. I'm a little bit older now, so I'm kind of a little bit more relaxed, but I think when in my competitive days, like, I was a lot of offense, and I was a lot of baiting people to do something because I knew I had a counter for that.
Would you say pose another question, so forgive me. If you see me make a weird face, I'm asking the question up here.
Oh, we're good.
So would you say, probably but would you say that capoeira is strategic?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. And can you give us an example or as to the why it would be strategic as a martial art?
Well, for me, you have the same kicks I have. Okay. You know what I mean? You can throw the same kicks I have. We can be forced versus force. Okay. You know, but it's better for me to put myself in the least dangerous position for me and the most dangerous position for you. So a lot of times, I'll throw a movement, and since capoeira, we play it more of a sport where we're throwing kicks at each other and stuff like that. So a lot of times I'll throw the same kick over and over again, teaching the other person that this is the kick that I like, this is the kick I'm gonna do, this is the kick you gotta deal with. And then I do everything with my body that makes it seem like I'm going to throw that kick, and at the last second I break it and do something else. They're usually caught off guard because they're expecting the kick that I just taught them was coming.
Can that same concept be, again, probably got you, but can that same concept be used in an actual ring versus an opponent? Like, however times you throw that kick in repetition, could that like psych them out and thinking, versus an opponent in the ring or on the mat, could that same concept be used as it would be in training as it would be versus an opponent on the mat, or is it different approach, different tactic? No,
I think baiting is, I think baiting's good no matter where you go. You know what I mean? Because I mean, as a fighter, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what's coming towards me. I'm trying to figure out your habits, you know? And, you know, if you have a glaring habit that I feel like I can exploit, I absolutely am going to. Okay. In fighting and capoeira, anywhere. Okay. And sometimes I want people to think I have a glaring weakness. Okay. And I want to see what they do with that. Because I know what I'm going to do.
Well, no, it's not that. It's kind of like if you want to catch them lacking, but it's kind of like, this guy's weak, I don't need to take him seriously, then, you know, out cold, basically.
100%.
Say
100%.
that's dangerous as hell. Checkmate. If I may, touch on the family aspect of it. So you train your youngins, your sons and the daughter, or just the sons or just the sons?
Well, I have 5 kids.
Okay.
My 24-year-old, she and I'm 43, just in case it shocks anyone that I have a 24-year-old. So she trained for a little bit. She trained for a little bit in the city with Professor Dragao. And me and my other son, we trained there as well. My 21-year-old, he's trained for around 14 years.
Deadly, isn't he?
He's good.
Okay, say less.
He
And he ain't just saying that because that's his pappy. He probably mean that shit. Now let me stop.
No, so he shows up after 3 years of not training and looks like the best student I have. Because his training.
So he can afford to take a break. Now let me stay. Yeah.
No, he can't.
No, I'm kidding.
So his so and that was because, I raised him from 0 to 18, and I mean on some level 21 because I'm still dealing with my son now. I love him to death. And but his training, the training that you get from somebody that's 20 something, 30 something versus someone who's who's 40 something now, who's training the other kids.
Okay.
It's different. David got told hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard, and that got written on the mirror. He woke up to me taking soap, ivory soap, and going, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard.
Okay. In
soap. And he's looking at the mirror like, okay. He's woken up to the same situation they're training. You're not. I used to hang behind corners and throw a kick at him, and he would go like this, and he's like, Dad, I just woke up. And you gotta be ready at all times, son. We would,
good times. He'll probably appreciate that later on down the line.
He does now. I spent some years apologizing for it, but he said he's at the point where he sees it for what it was.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So
good coaching, good mentorship, and it came from a place of love at the end of the day.
Yes, and he's good. He's really good. He's had years of training, and he's at A&T right now, so he's not doing as much training as he used to, but I do still send him sequences and stuff like that. I send him stuff written out. I send him videos of me doing stuff or whatever, just so he can know what to focus on. Got you. Now, my younger kids, because at some point I was actually, let me touch on this if you don't mind, like how I started here. Good. So there was a Halloween event, a trunk or treat last year or something like that, either last year or the year before. They had a capoeira demonstration. And for me, my kid's mother, she sent me and say, look what they're doing here. I tried to make it, but I couldn't. And when he had his first class, I'm thinking, I've never seen someone doing capoeira in Fayetteville. Okay. Never have I seen this here. I looked up some guy in Westover when I first got here, but he was long gone. Okay. So when I heard that there was a capoeira class, I took my son and we headed down there for the first class. Ironically, we sat right over there by that fan, and and I went up to the guy. He was teaching class. We put 2 chairs over there, and I told him, I said, I'm an instructor. I've done capoeira for a certain amount of time. This is one of my graduados. He's done capoeira for 14 years. If you need anybody to play an instrument, if you need anybody, I know you're here by yourself. If you need any help, anyone to demonstrate stuff on, anything, we'll be right here. And for me, it was supporting my art. You know what I mean? And in supporting my art, I met a friend that I wouldn't give up for the world, for all the money in the world. Okay. And that's Professor Turbulencia, who used to teach here. Okay. And so we got to know each other a little bit. I met his students and stuff like that, and he was getting deployed, and he asked me to kind of teach for him for a couple of weeks, for 6 weeks. Okay. So I taught for him for 6 weeks, and it was a little bit of a culture shock because he's a very patient teacher. Very patient teacher, love him to death. I'm not that. Ooh. I'm not that.
So if I may, as a teacher, is that more of a temperament? So you're blunt and you're honest. I know a lot of teachers, they probably would have put on a facade. Thank you for the but as a teacher, is that more of a temperament thing when somebody just doesn't get it with what you're teaching and coaching? Asking.
Well, there was a show called The Biggest Loser where they had 2 trainers. There was Bob and Jillian. Bob was cool, you're doing great, good job. And Jillian was like, go. I'm not Bob.
Okay.
You know, I'm passionate about my art, and you can hear it when I lose my voice during class, you know.
So, I'm asking, can't that be a little bit discouraging not having a pacing teacher? When teaching a martial art, especially since it is in the realm of self-defense?
Yes.
Okay.
If your teacher's temperament doesn't match yours, then absolutely.
Okay.
But that's why you know what I mean? If you're here for the art,
okay.
Unfortunately, in Fayetteville, there's nobody else. But, you know, with the other teacher and with me, you have two very different styles of capoeira. You have a very patient style of capoeira, and you have my style that's a lot more aggressive.
I was about to say aggressive.
A lot more aggressive, and, you know, my children coming from me were always going to gravitate towards my way.
The aggressive. The aggression.
And as much as I try not to be aggressive, as much as I've grown and I'm not that anymore, there's something about me that still has that, that still makes it into them, and I don't know how to get rid of that. So when I was teaching his students, it was a culture shock. They had a guy that told them, good job, great. And then they had a guy telling him, you're 20 degrees off. So it's your foot's in the wrong place. Your foot's still in the wrong place. That's your foot, wrong place. He's not like that. So
did it ever get to the point, motherfucker, I done told you your foot's in the wrong place now? Like, oh shit.
Not in his class. Not in his class.
Okay, I got you.
I'm
sorry. I can see you going Samuel on him since you said it like that. I got one more time for me to say that word, and I'm gonna swipe. Anyway, yeah, I'm kidding.
Well, I don't think I get there, but I do get to a certain level of frustration that my students have gotten used to.
Okay.
And I mean, some of his students that were a little softer, they didn't gravitate towards me. So they had some tough training coming in. They were sweating and, but I had gotten them doing sequences, I had advanced them, and he was very appreciative when he got back. He was like, I can't believe they're doing all this in such a short period of time. And he says, it's a credit to who you are as a teacher, and I'm trying to give the credit to them as students because they worked their butt off.
Pose another question. So if it got the desired results, right? Like, and I've asked other martial artists this, and I'm gonna bring it back full circle to the family. I got you. But you can't be soft in learning martial arts, obviously, right? So did you have anybody like legit just quit the classes because of your aggressive approach to the art?
I had one young lady who actually, she didn't show up for the entire time that she was gone, and the day that he came back.
That's when she came back?
Yeah, she showed up, and she came up to me at, I guess, he stretches after every class. And I'm trying to use every minute of my class. I'm trying to, and the stretching is a good thing for him because he gets to go over things, he talks to them, asks them how they like the class, and he gets some information moving forward on how his next class could be. I just happen not to be like that.
Okay.
So I want to use every minute. If we got an hour, I don't want to spend a certain amount of time stretching. So because she hadn't been here the whole time, she didn't know that everybody else did. She came up to me with her watch and said, excuse me. She was like, excuse me, it's 15 minutes left time to stretch. I'm like, oh, we're not stretching. She was like, we're not stretching. I said, no stretching. I said, if you want to go and stretch with yourself in the corner, then you by all means can go do that.
Got you.
She did that.
Got you.
And he walked over to her and said, what are you doing?
No, so only reason I ask, I have a soft temperament. It is what it is. I call a spade a spade. I'm trying to find a martial art for me, whether it is boxing, wrestling, mixed martial arts, karate.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of want to bring martial artists to my channel just to give them perspective. I brought humble martial artists, I brought in-your-face martial artists, but the one thing I've learned, and I'm hoping my audience learns with the martial artists that I bring on here, that there's a certain amount of dog you have to have in you to pursue it. To an extent, to me, from my perspective, what I'm learning with the people I'm having sit-downs with, you can't, martial arts really isn't meant, even though it is a self-defense, you can't be all the way soft in here. That's what I'm learning 100%. As of right now. But
capoeira, anyone can do it. For me, it doesn't matter what your temperament is.
Okay.
But you'll find some people that they don't have that, and they end up using it as a workout.
Okay.
There's a
Is
place.
that fine?
Yeah, there's a place for you here.
Okay.
There's people that end up using it something similar to breakdancing.
Okay.
Want to learn some tricks? There's a place for you here.
Okay.
You know, there's some people that use it as a self-defense. That's where I fall in. Where I want to be able to defend myself with this.
Okay.
That was always very important to me.
Okay.
And it's important to me as an instructor now, passing it along. There's a place for me here.
Okay.
You know, I was a fighter. There's pacifists here. There's a place for them here. And I mean, the best way that I could put it, you can give a knife to anyone, but not everyone's gonna stab somebody. You know, so you can give
Jules.
you can give this martial arts to anybody, and anybody can do this, and they can enjoy it.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be able to defend themselves with it. And it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be able to attack with it. Okay. There's some people that it's just so contrary to their nature. You know, and I'm not here to change anybody.
Okay.
I'm here to add something to your life. And sometimes when I teach you things, I don't get to decide what you do with it.
Okay.
You know, you could, you know, if I realize you're going out there beating people up, I mean, I won't work with you anymore. But you know what I mean? Once you get outside of this space, it's
I respect that. If I may, I've talked to other coaches and I've asked that, and they said, nah, they're out. But you were saying?
Yeah, no, it's not my way.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Essentially, you know, I'm giving my children something to defend themselves with. I'm giving my students something to defend themselves with.
Okay.
But, you know, but that's my job to teach them how to fight. Now, there are other people out there, maybe they're older, maybe they were coddled, maybe they, you know, there could be a bunch of things that they're just gonna come here, they're gonna be great, but they're not gonna be going outside and breaking anyone's nose, and I'm perfectly fine with that. There's a place for them here too.
Got you. So if I may, again, bring it back to the family. So is it hard? Everybody gets different treatment, regardless of how aggressive it is, I know, but is it easy or hard for you to separate parent from teacher when you're training your kids versus anybody else? Like, is that hard for you?
It wasn't with my 21-year-old.
Okay.
My 21-year-old, again, I mean, the kids still hear again more than they'd like, but you get sick of the word again if you're training with me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I spared nothing. You know what I mean? When it came to my son, my master used to get really afraid when he saw us play because the kicks were so close.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I would tell him, this is nothing compared to what we do at home.
Was your master as aggressive towards you? So here's why I ask, and I probably should have asked this in the beginning when it came to the aggression part and the style of teaching, but was your master like aggressive towards you and other students as well? Because you're going to follow a blueprint that you were given in some form of fashion. I think that's life. So with that, was your master aggressive?
I mean, no, but we still got our ass kicked. There's nothing worse than someone calmly kicking your ass.
Oh.
His demeanor, you know what I mean? There were times where, you know, he roughed us up a little bit, and that was very much a part of our training. We needed that. Okay. We needed the first time we faced resistance to not be outside. So he gave us safe resistance. You know what I mean? He didn't injure us, you know what I mean? And he always said, I've never injured any of my students except Indio. I hurt him. I got you. So I'm the only one of his students he ever hurt. But, you know, I think he had a special place for me, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, his temperament was chill. Now his master's temperament, Mestre Cabeza, that was an animal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He would toughen you up. So as much as he wasn't really, you know, go gung-ho and crazy, he comes from that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the same way I say I can't keep that out of my training, whatever, that's in here somewhere, even though I've matured and calmed down, like somewhere in my master, you know, there was some, and when he first got here from Brazil, he had to fight. You know, there was a lot of capoeiristas coming over here. There was a lot of fights that happened in the Brazilian street fairs and stuff. Okay. You know, new guy coming through, who are you? So he had some fights.
Making his statement, basically, of who he was in that realm. So allow me, bringing it back to you, right? And we haven't even touched on the fitness aspect, because you're dropping jewels just. So with that being said, like, when you first started training, When you had your first official match, what was your temperament, Mike? Like, what were your nerves? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Like, what were some of the things you experienced leading up to your first official match in capoeira?
Well, I mean, it was similar to street fights. I was nervous as hell until I got punched. You know what I mean? So
What away after that?
let's go.
Okay.
So like,
Okay.
you know, and it was, I mean, when I would go to events and, you know what I mean, I'm looking at my cord, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the color, I'm looking at the people that have it. You know, I'm looking around at people's belts and seeing like, I'm looking at new people I've never seen before, you know what I mean? And then I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Close the bathroom door, go throw up.
Oh, wow, that deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And just go throw up real quick or whatever, come back out. You know what I mean? Everything starts, I just, you know what, I'm gonna get in. And I mean, at first there would be events where I kept going to go in and like, the event was over by the time I was actually able to get in. I just never had the nerve. So by the time I actually got in, I was good. You know, I was trying to compete, you know, and like, whether I did it well or not, like I was definitely competing. And, you know, when I had a white cord or whatever, like I had experience from doing capoeira in the streets with somebody. So as much as I was a white cord, I was more advanced than some of the white cords that were there.
Gotcha.
So I was always able to defend myself, and I was always doing what I was doing in the streets. Like in the streets, I was picking on taller people because I was intimidated by them, and I wanted them to know that I wasn't scared of them. I was scared of them.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, so, and it was the same thing there. You know, there were higher levels or whatever, and they scared the crap out of me. So I went to go play with them. You know, so
allow me to ask it to the kids. So you've seen them compete, obviously, right? So as an instructor, seeing them compete as an instructor and as a father, because I'm pretty sure those were two totally different feelings, I'd imagine. How did you feel in those realms? Watching as an instructor, seeing them compete, and then watching as a parent, them doing what you did, compete.
My son, my 21-year-old, watching him compete, it's weird. He moves like me.
As a master instructor, father, in both aspects, weird.
Master / father with him, like there's a thing between master and father. Like there's some set things that we already have set in stone that, you know, if we look at each other, we already know one of us is gonna go play. Okay. We know how to alert someone when we're tired. You know what I mean? So like him, you know, it's kind of both, but it's really weird looking at someone, you know, and watching videos of the event and looking at my oldest son and not being able to tell if that's me or not.
Okay.
Is just insane. Okay. You know, seeing some of the movements he pulls off is just, it's ridiculous. I'm like, this kid is not training. How's he doing this? You know, so watching how good he is just, I'm super proud, you know what I mean? Like, and as a master, I'm like, all right, time for more. Like, time to get you back training.
Okay, I got you.
My other students, my other children, they haven't competed yet.
Okay.
They're in friendly spaces. They're advancing fast, and they absolutely have no idea how good they are.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, once we have our event and I get them their new belts and take them out, you know, then they get to finally see who they. But all of this is in house. They're measuring themselves against me and a couple of the students that were there when I subbed that gravitated towards us. That they kind of come around every now and then. So it's all been in-house stuff. They haven't gone out there and competed with anyone, but they're good.
So for the ones that haven't competed, how about this? Like, what is the expectation that you have for them when they compete, your youngins?
Have fun.
That's
Have
it?
Fun. That's it.
Okay.
You want to hear the expectations for my 21-year-old?
Oh, yes, please.
Dominate. Leave no doubt.
Okay.
We went to an event. You know what I mean? There was my master had a couple of capoeira tournaments. My son won the first two, and we didn't make it to the other ones after that. So, you know, even we would go to events and he would play with other students, and he would get out of there. I'm like, why didn't you dominate? You could have picked that person apart. Why didn't you? He said, Dad, I didn't want to hurt her. I'm like,
well, it
makes sense. And I understood it.
Okay.
It was tough.
I was gonna say, can you really blame? So Do you feel like in the martial arts realm and temperament, do you feel like that's a sign of maturity? If, okay, I know I can fuck you up. I'm choosing not to. Like, can you say that is a level of whether it's emotional intelligence or martial arts, you know, like.
Just who he was. Just who he was at the moment.
Okay.
And on some level, he very much still is that.
Okay.
But the difference is, if he wants to do it, he can now.
Okay.
It's a choice, you know what I mean? Like.
So if that was you in that ring, it wouldn't have mattered.
It was, and I mean, you know, I'm getting a lot older. My competitive bug is gone. You know what I mean? I have a teaching bug now. Like that's what I want to do. I want to, like, I'm watching these people develop into better people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's so I mean that's just where it is for me. I do capoeira. You know, some people see me and maybe they like me, but like. You know, for the most part, I'm only here for my kids. Like, I want to see them grow. That's my candy right now. You know, before it was like leaving events and, you know, people coming up to me and saying I was good and stuff like that, or me knowing I was good. You know, like, but now it's not that. It's just intertwined. It's just intertwined in my children. I love seeing what they do, and you know, I just want them to have fun. You know, but my son, like. It was him against every last one of my master's younger students. It was all the kids against each other.
And he did exceptionally well, I'd imagine, right?
He won.
Okay.
He beat everyone.
Okay.
So like.
Proud moment, right?
Yeah, to this day.
Say less.
I say it with a little bit of air in my chest, you know what I'm saying?
So, and I might be circling back, and you may, in a way, have touched on it, but capoeira, right? What are some of the biggest misconceptions, people who are misinformed, what are some of the biggest misconceptions we may have about that martial art?
I mean, it's only a dance. It's breakdancing. We don't have hands. You know what I mean? Like, you just punch us in the face and I say we fall down. Like, I mean, that it's ineffective in street defense. You know, and I think honestly, those are the major ones. But you know, but you know, when I heard these things when I was younger, it was insulting. And I felt insulted, you know what I mean? And I acted insulted, and I was a bit of an abrasive person. I was a lot more aggressive. So, I mean, I responded aggressively, you know what I mean?
Because of your love for the art?
Yeah, I was defending my art. Like, how dare you say this?
I got you.
But now I'm I'm a 43-year-old man. I turn 44 next month, and...
Amen, brother. Keep living, keep dropping the knowledge.
Appreciate you. It's not my job to tell someone I'm dangerous. You know what I mean? Like
it's up to us to figure it out.
The
more you fuck around, the more you find out.
And I hope no one ever puts me in a position that I have to defend myself. You know what I mean? So now if like someone says, "Hey, I heard capoeira is not dangerous," nope, not at all. You know, and like if that same person so happens to
give you a little love tap, like that.
Then we'll find out. You know what I mean? Then we will find out. But I don't want to be in that position.
I got you.
You know, if a person thinks I'm dangerous and want to measure themselves against me, I'm the wrong person. I'm a father. That's it. You know, so, but at the same time, I will also defend myself if absolutely pushed to it.
I got you.
You know, but I will not tell someone, "Hey, I'm dangerous." What am I gonna do? Give them a reason to pull out a gun? Like.
Got you. No tracking all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shift the energy. I apologize. Now, so thank you for the knowledge base that you've given us on capoeira. Allow us to touch on your fitness journey a little bit. So, outside of the martial art, like what got you into the aspects of the gym? Yeah.
I was fat.
Huh?
I was fat.
Even though you're a martial artist?
Yeah, I was 235 pounds of.
You can let yourself go with capoeira.
Like,
what training that?
Well,
like,
see, I wasn't training for a couple of years. You know, I got had me a girlfriend.
Oh, it's the girlfriend. She was feeding you the meals and shit in the hoof. Oh, okay.
Listen, that woman could cook.
Okay.
That woman could cook. I'll give her that. Okay. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like I was happy for a little bit. I was in training so much, you know, and I was getting big and chunky, and just.
You hear that, y'all? Love makes you fat. Now when you start, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, I had to.
So
yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to get into the gym, lose some weight. You know what I mean? Got there and started figuring things out. I think I wasted my time for a year because I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't asking anybody anything. I didn't really have a set routine.
Got
I was finding some things around here and there and winging it.
Okay.
And wasn't making much progress. And then, about a year after that, I started figuring some things out. Figured out some routines. Made it to some of the things that I think are considered old school at this point. Like, there was the Battle for the Olympia DVDs, where they showed, Ronnie Coleman. They showed,
yeah, buddy.
Yeah, they showed everybody that you can remember from the '90s working out. They showed their entire. It was just them working out. I watched that.
That just lit something in you.
Yeah, Arnold's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Couple of forums online and stuff like that. And finally started getting some information and figured out exactly what I wanted to do. There was the Hodge twins. They had
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? They had some.
They would have. Fuck you wanted. Yeah, I know.
Their content. I learned so much from it because I was learning stuff in different videos, but they were hilarious.
Got you.
So I had a reason to watch their videos all the time, and I was gaining information. And then they had a website where they posted their basic routine, and their basic routine became my first routine. And I just started doing that for a little bit, and then started looking around and seeing, maybe I could do this instead of this. Then I started taking stuff out, and I started adding stuff back, and then I started tweaking things, and I just started figuring stuff out, and then I became obsessed with, I guess, program design, and the relationship between different exercises and each other, how a bench press feels at the beginning of a workout versus the end of a workout. You know what I mean? Where's your PR more necessary? Warm-ups and stuff like that. So there was a lot of stuff that I was learning, and I was actually, after about a year, putting into work.
So if I may, during the weight loss journey, because
Yeah.
did it consist of, probably but did it consist of a lot of cardio? Like a lot of cardio? Road work, treadmills, yeah.
A lot of treadmill.
Yeah.
A lot of treadmill work.
Okay, I got you.
A lot of treadmill work, you know what I mean? I think I was a huge fan of the elliptical at this time.
Okay.
And I thought I graduated past the elliptical and then tried the elliptical about a year ago. After not doing it for 15, I'm like, it still isn't bad,
Got you.
So, I was doing a lot of elliptical and, but yeah, a good amount of cardio. Started restricting carbs. There was an Atkins diet and stuff like that.
So with your martial arts background and gaining the weight and losing it, since you have a martial arts background, was it easy for you to stay disciplined and focused on your fitness and weight loss journey?
Yeah.
All right.
I hate to say it that easily, but I was, I was gonna keep showing back up.
Okay,
Regardless. I was gonna keep showing back up and doing, for a year I wasted my time, but I wasted my time like 6 days a week for a year. You know what I mean? Or 5 days a week for a year. Okay. I was going to keep showing up. I was going to, in that week I didn't change, in that year I didn't change much. So there was always a reason for me to come back. I'm looking at myself in the mirror like I'm going to figure this out, and eventually I figured it out. So it, a lot of help from people in the gym. You know what I mean? A lot of.
So you have a love for everybody in your fitness community, I imagine.
Well, you know what? I'm very careful with how I approach people, but I actually approach a lot of people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the All-American gym, you know what I mean? The gym in Hope Mills, I happen to know a lot of people, and it was like, and I go up to them and I help them, and that's my first year affecting me. Because if somebody had pulled me to the side for that first year, the first year wouldn't have been a waste. Okay. So when I see someone doing something and I don't tell them anything, and then I see them in 3 more weeks doing the same thing, I feel responsible. Like I can't help that. I feel like I did that. Okay. Like I feel like the time that they're wasting, I assisted them in wasting it, and they don't even know I'm a person. You know what I mean? They have no idea I'm looking at them 3 weeks ago. They have no idea I'm looking at them after 3 weeks. But I'm looking at them like I could have helped them and I didn't. So I'm gonna go over and say something.
I got you.
And I've met some lifelong friends doing that. You know what I mean? I've met people I could help. I've met people that helped me. You know what I mean? And as much as I've seen people doing weird stuff in the gym, and I'm like, You know what I mean? And I think
Why? No, I'm sorry.
yes, but here's the funny thing with me getting older.
Yeah.
Is there was a guy that I went over to. I was like, well, that's just stupid. Like everything he's doing is stupid. Like, so I went over to him and I asked why he's doing it. I just, you know what I mean? I needed to understand. And when he explained everything to me, I completely got it and no longer thought it was stupid.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of times I see people doing stuff in the gym, and aside from giving advice, I ask questions because there's people doing things, and sometimes they may know something I don't know.
You hit him with the, really? Now let me stop. I'm sorry. That was gold to me in the beginning. I've been bamboozled. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was so sorry. I'm going to do that to somebody at work when I get some, really? I'm sorry.
You don't say.
Jules. No, I'm sorry.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of times I've judged people. You know what I mean? You see a lot of people, they put on videos, look at this guy doing this stupid thing or whatever. And I mean, I haven't put up any videos, but I very much was the person that was like thinking those same things.
Like, why is this person or Gala girl doing this? Gotcha.
And, you know, the more people that I talk to or whatever, like, the more I realize, like, some of these people aren't idiots. They're either lost, they don't know what they're doing, or some of them have specific reasons for doing a very specific movement.
Okay.
You know, when there's certain movements that I do in capoeira, and if you see certain exercises I have to kind of complement that movement, you wouldn't get it. But if you saw me playing capoeira, you'd be like, now I get it.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, you know, I mean, I was very closed-minded, you know, for a lot of years. And now that I'm getting older, I'm a lot more open-minded. You know, I talk to people, and I don't want to just judge somebody. Like, you know, if I want to go up to them and see if, are they actually an idiot? I mean, I don't know how to put it that way. And what I find out is they're usually not.
So it's a sign of growth at the end of the day for you. Safe to assume?
Yeah.
So if I may bring in everything full circle, like in closing, 2 questions, but they're 2-part questions.
Let's get it.
An aspect of martial arts, regardless if it's capoeira or any other martial art, what are some things you like about the martial arts realm, and what are some things you dislike about it?
Martial arts. I mean, I like that it challenges you in a way that it challenges you in a way that shows you who you are.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I enjoyed that for years. But in terms of what I'm enjoying about it now, is it illuminates certain things in my children.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm noticing the ones that are having certain issues with learning, and those are the same issues they have other places. You know what I mean? And it gives me a safe environment to work on it without them feeling judged.
Okay.
I like that it shows me, when I was younger, it showed me who I am, and now it's showing me who my kids are, and it actually brings us closer together.
Okay.
So I like that it challenges you. I like that it puts you in interesting positions and lets you see what you would do to fight out of this. Like, you learn about yourself here.
Okay.
What do I dislike about it? Well, after having 2 masters that no longer teach in the art anymore, I think, you know, I don't like when masters abandon their students. You know what I mean? I don't like when people are, you know, brought up to a certain place and just left out there.
Do you feel like, so continuation on that, is there a reason why they left? Or regardless of the reason, it doesn't matter, I guess?
Well, one of my masters, he ended up just moving more than anything.
Okay.
You know, he went back to Brazil, stayed there for a little bit, and then I think he moved to New Rochelle. Okay. Second master got married to a very rich woman, and some people have a price, and it got paid. You know what I mean? So he was bought and paid for. So that had a very long-lasting negative effect on the students overall, huh? And I'm asking. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, me and one of my other friends, we got stuck on our belts for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I've just seen someone move 2 belts in the time that I had my tattered belt. My belt's falling apart at this point. Oh. So like it's literally unraveling. Like, that's how long I've had it. And there were some people that were really involved in the group and could have been amazing capoeiristas, and they just stopped training. You know, there were a bunch of us that were just left out there, and you know, the effects were crazy.
Last question to that, then I'll move on to the other two-part question. For you, did that leave maybe a level of disdain for your masters because of how they left?
Well, Mestre Bon Jesus, my first master, nah. I had some time. I mean, this happened in like '99.
Okay.
So I had some time to deal with that. You know what I mean? And then eventually, I forgave. And I think with Mestre Abará right now, which was my second master, when I was with the longest, like for him, yeah. I mean, I was talking trash online, hoping it got back to him.
Gotcha.
I was saying some things, like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, you know, but at this point, like, you know, I'm getting a little bit older. I don't think I'm as angry anymore. And I mean, you know, I'm still upset, but it's not to the level of anger. The man taught me a lot of things, man, you know, and I have to be grateful for that. It's just, you know, his integrity was a thing. So the only thing that I can do moving forward is just make sure that my students never have to deal with something like that. Okay. I moved to North Carolina, and like, I had a student in New York, Panda, when I was over there. He trains with us on FaceTime all the time. Okay. So he's not left out there. You know what I mean? My son's not left out there. He's got stuff being sent to him. Okay. My kid, who happens to be my 17-year-old, who happens to be working now, he's got stuff sent to him. So I'm not leaving anybody out there. And you know, anyone who was ever one of my students, if they ever want to reach out, you know, there's always an open door. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll support in any possible way that I can.
Got you.
Do be better than my master was to me.
That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for that tidbit. So the second two-part question, then we'll cut it here because I know you still got some gains to get, brother.
Always.
The fitness community, right? Same question, different format. What are some things you like about the fitness community? What are some things you dislike about the fitness community?
Oh, things I like about the fitness community. I like that it becomes a community whether it wants to or not.
Okay.
You get all these people in the same place, we're all around each other, and like, you know, we can't help but have certain interactions with each other. We can't help but have to interact. Are you using this? How many more sets you got? You know what I mean? And like, you know, like, we gotta talk to each other. Yeah. So it's like, you know, I mean, there's unexpected things that happen because of that. You know what I mean? I've seen friends grow together here. I've seen friends grow apart here. You know what I mean? I've seen children be made. You know what I mean? I've seen, you know, let's be honest.
I've seen children be, oh wow, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You're on the squat rack. You're doing bench press. Fast forward 10 months. That's a baby, ain't it? Like,
God damn it, I knew it. You motherfucker, you. Now let me stop.
You ain't squatting no more. Ass baby. Like, so I mean, I like people helping each other, you know what I mean? I like seeing people transform. I like seeing people gain things that they didn't have before, you know what I mean? And some of the stuff that I want to gain.
Like a child. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I was like, wait.
So, I mean, you know, my kids enjoy a father that they think can do anything. You know what I mean? And I get a lot of that in the gym. You know, I asked my daughter, I said, you know, I've been lifting heavy now. Do I look stronger? She said, Dad, you always look strong.
Okay.
You know
that made you just.
I
got you. Yeah.
But you know, originally I think maybe I wanted, you know, the girl I was with, or maybe somebody else, to maybe a stranger, to appreciate my fitness, but
give you that recognition.
Yeah, but never did I think that there would be something better than that for my 13-year-old daughter. Okay. You know what I mean? Like her just assuming that I have her. Okay. You know what I mean? Her just assuming if there's a boogeyman that I'm going to be the one to kick it.
Gotcha.
Her assuming if there's something heavy that I can lift it.
Okay.
And I mean, you know, I don't know if I can, depending on what she's seeing, but I do know that I can keep working out in this place to be able to lift heavier things and, you know, do better things. I like watching people get that. I like watching little chunky kids walk into the gym with their fathers and come out
yoked. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And watching, these little kids, hey, and the next thing you know, hey, like it's, watching the confidence that my son gets from the gym, you know what I mean? Like, watching these things, I love it.
I apologize, brother.
You're good. What I don't really like is the egos. You know what I mean? Like, you had Storm on here before or whatever, and he posted a video today that was saying, somebody hits a PR and they're proud of themselves, they lift their weight or whatever. If you know you're stronger than them, don't go over there and be like, hey, are you using those just to show everybody how tough you are?
Shout out to Storm.
Shout out to Storm. That was insanely important video you put out there. Mm-hmm. So like, I can't stand stuff like that. Like,
feels like that's toxicity in the community, and that's not what we're here for. Fitness community is about bettering yourself, empowerment, and motivating others. Mm-hmm. I get that. So with that being said, Cabo, thank you for Chris, come up for me real quick. I know you're tired, brother. I gotta give him his flowers. I'm gonna give you a little lesson about me. You probably be like, bullshit, but when I say this, it'll make sense. No, come in the middle, brother. Come in the middle. All right. Yeah. So, believe it or not, my bad, brother. Yeah, in 3 interviews a day, I'm winded. But believe it or not, I do suffer, and you probably picked up on this in the interview. I suffer from a form of social anxiety and social interaction. We've known each other for years. You've done nothing but promote good energy. Been friendly, approachable, but believe it or not, I would have been scared to ask you to come on this channel and platform. A week ago, as you know, and it's called networking. He networked this, put in a good word for me, and it helped me build up the courage to ask you to come to this platform and drop nothing but jewels this whole time.
I appreciate you.
With the life that you live, the experience that you're giving, the talks, mentorship, coaching, fatherhood, he brought all that to my channel. So that would not have happened if he didn't put in that good word for me. So with that being said, while I'm telling you thank you, I want to make sure that I tell him thank you. If there's anybody you feel like I should bring to this channel who have jewels, life experiences, whatever, my channel is come one, come all. At the end of the day, everybody has a story to tell. I know that depending on the platform, you're not that big on the social medias, Instagram, TikToks, and all that. But again, somebody is going to see, I guarantee you, somebody's going to see this interview, talk. Somebody's going to see this and listen and be like, oh, damn, I empathize a lot with that. So all I can be is humble and respectful. Cabo, thank you. As my channel continues to grow, please allow me to bring you back.
Please.
If time permits, and depending on who it is, allow me to do a 2-man. I'll have better equipment and all that other stuff, hopefully like a round table. But I want you to come back and continue, gain some more life with the life that you have, and bring some more jewels to my channel.
I'd love to.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Appreciate the love. Thank you, Chris. All love. Other than that, we done.
Mets in 7.
All right, y'all, and we are out.
Yo, appreciate you, brother.